On-field is tense and electric as Liverpool receive a late defensive jolt. Joe Gomez has returned to first-team training just days before the Champions season opener, a development that could reshape Arne Slot's plans. With Gomez's recovery arriving after an Achilles layoff and the club racing to conclude deals for Crystal Palace's Marc Guehi and Parma teenager Giovanni Leone, Liverpool's backline looks bolstered yet unsettled. This is more than squad news. It's a potential turning point that will test Slot's transfer strategy, the team's depth, and whether this side has the serial winner mentality to defend the title, and fans. The immediate picture is stark and decisive. Joe Gomez back in training alters the narrative around Liverpool's defence in an instant. Images of the 28-year-old working with his teammates arrive after an Achilles problem forced him to cut short the Far East tour and miss multiple sessions, a setback that briefly left Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahima Konate as the only senior fit centre-back options on paper. But thinness sparked questions about depth and planning after Gerald Kwanzaa's departure, and Gomez's presence in the week's preparations gives Arne Slot a selection option he could scarcely afford to lack a fortnight ago. The timing matters because Liverpool face Bournemouth at Anfield to open the campaign, and the line-up Slot picks in that match will speak louder than any transfer rumour. Running in parallel to that fitness update is a transfer thread that has picked up real momentum. Sources and credible reporting link Liverpool to Marc Guehi, the England international whose Premier League experience would immediately add domestically proven steel to the spine, and to Giovanni Leone, an 18-year-old centre-back from Parma who has impressed in Serie A and is now widely reported as closing in on a move to Anfield. The two targets represent different but complementary answers to the same problem. Guehi shortens the adaptation curve with proven league minutes and a familiarity with English tempo, while Leone supplies long-term height, athleticism and upside, an investment in the seasons to come. If both moves materialise, Slot's defensive options would change from reactive to planned, allowing the manager to choose specific profiles for specific opponents rather than simply patch holes. On a tactical level, the consequences are subtle but real and immediate. Gomez brings versatility. He is capable of pairing with Van Dijk in a 2, acting as the wide centre-back in a 3, or dropping in as dependable cover so Slot can rotate without blowing up the team's shape. Leone's Serie A experience indicates a defender accustomed to tactical nuance, positional discipline and aerial contests. Guehi's domestic record promises a shorter bedding in period and a steadier hand when the intensity of Premier League fixtures rises. Together, these profiles allow Slot to think in patterns rather than in emergency fixes, planned rotation, targeted matchups and load management for senior players. That tactical flexibility feeds directly into what Slot has asked of his squad this summer. A mentality much less about complacent celebration and far more about building a serial winner culture that shows up game after game. All of these strands converge on a single early test, the opener at Anfield. That match will reveal whether Gomez's training images translate into match minutes, how quickly new signings, if confirmed, can be integrated without destroying rhythm, and whether Slot's summer blueprint delivers the balance between experience and youth that title defences demand. For supporters, the mood is a mix of cautious optimism and blunt realism. Reinforcements are encouraging, but relationships on the pitch are forged in competitive minutes, not press releases. Over the coming weeks, the finer details will matter. How many minutes does Gomez get? Where does Leone fit if he arrives? And will Guehi's presence tilt selection toward physical stability or ball-carrying reliability? The answers to those questions will decide whether this is merely a temporary defensive lifeline or the start of a recalibrated spine capable of carrying Liverpool through another long season. If you want, I can now turn this narrative into 3 short, punchy voiceover lines for the very start of the video, 10-20 seconds each, tailored to the title you selected, or produce alternate closing lines that drive viewer engagement and comments.